Hi everyone. My name is Yasser. I was born in a small town in Iran. And a couple of years ago I came to Montreal for higher education and better life. And after graduation 2 years ago I moved to Victoria for work as a land survey engineer. Victoria is beautiful and a small town. But I was walking the town, I feel sad because I was lonely, no friend, and it's difficult to find a friend. So I was walking one night and I see a long line in front of Victoria Event Center. I was curious. I went to the end of the line and I asked the last person, what's going here? She told me there is a storytelling night. I said, oh. So I stayed in the line, I got a ticket and I went to the event and I like it. There was a couple of people come and tell the story. I love it. I came home, I wrote a few stories, I sent it to the organizer and I told, oh, this is my story. And they told, oh, this is good. We choose, she chose one of my story and she told me next month come and tell your story. So I was so excited, I write it down, I practice, everything was okay up to the day of the event. So the day of event, in the morning, same as every day, I went to the work. But when I wake up in the morning, I feel today is different. I had a little stress. So I went to the work and I was like so stressed that I was not able to work, concentrate on my work. I told my colleague, you know, I'm sick, I'm going home. I can't work here. He thought, okay. So I came home, I tried to sleep, I tried to take shower, meditate. Oh, that was the hardest day of my life, so stressful. So the event center was like 30-minute walking from my home. I stopped walking to there. I show up like 1 hour in advance. So I went there and there was 6 other storytelling there. So we went to the backstage. Everyone had stress, but it was obvious I had more stress because it was my first time to go on the stage. The organizer, they give some free ticket for a drink to a storyteller. So I see all of them, they went and they asked for a drink and they come and they drink alcohol. I find they are working under stress. But the problem is I was not the alcohol drinker. I just drank few shots of tequila in Montreal with my Mexican friend. I didn't have any knowledge about the alcohol. So I went to the bartender, I put my free ticket there and I told, give me the strongest drink you have. And then she said, tequila? I said, yeah, I know tequila. So then she said, 2 shots? I said, yeah, 2 shots. So she gave me a 2-shot tequila. So I drink half of the glass, but I didn't eat at all that day because I had very stressed day.
Oh no!
So I found I can't even stand. And the people come and it was like a lot of people. I thought, oh, I have 2 options. The first option is run away. Nobody know me here. I just go home. So it's done. The second option is I can drink more water, feel better because I was almost the end. And this is my first and last time come to the stage. So that was my idea. So I decided to choose the second option. I drink more water and went to the stage. Very surprisingly, the story went very well. The story was about my experience of dating in Iran and Montreal and how I tried to use my knowledge to date, but it didn't work because I didn't know French and English sucks. So it was so difficult. So the people liked it a lot. So I came home. So I slept well after a hard day. And the day after, I went out, I walked in downtown, I thought now everyone should know me because I was telling a story last night. So I walked, nobody come to say hi. I thought, oh, come on. I started even judging people. I said, people in Victoria, they are shy or they are not respecting the famous people. Why nobody? So I came home and I dressed the same as the last night. I thought maybe I should have the same dress so people recognize me. So I had a nice coat, I wear my coat, and I went to Mocha Coffee House. It was a coffee in the Cook Street. I was going often there. And I tried to sit somewhere to be seen good with people. I stayed for 1 hour, nobody come to say hi. And I said, come on. And I was like hopeless. I was ready to go. And suddenly a beautiful young woman came and she's in the corner. I was this corner. I look at her, she look at me. Again, I look at her, I saw her, she's look at me. So I thought maybe there's a painting on the wall. She's look at the painting. But I look at her and I saw she brought her glasses from the bag and she put the glasses and she smiled and she started walking toward me. Oh my God, that was so stressful. I never had this kind of situation in my life. Even I was start sweating. And then she just walked toward me. I know, she know now me. So she come and she say, hey, are you the person you told the story last night? I thought, yes, I am here. I'm all day waiting for you. And she talked a little and she went. I was the happiest person in Victoria, maybe West Coast. And still I keep that happiness by myself. Thank you.
There are a few things you need to know about me. One is that I have an innate sense of justice. This comes from being the eldest in the family. 2, I have an incredibly small bladder. And 3, I have a friend with exceptionally poor taste in men. And these might seem like 3 seemingly unconnected traits about myself, but as you'll see, they come together in a moment of pure synchronicity. From scumbags to scallywags, my kind-hearted, generous friend Nikki just couldn't seem to date someone that was as good as she was. The last guy she dated, though, was possibly the worst, Brendan. He was the worst because he was a secret asshole. He seemed like a good person at the beginning, caring and supportive, and so we invited him out to everything because we were good friends and we wanted to show her our support for the good guys, or so we thought. One of these events we invited him to was at my house. We were preparing for a beach-themed party, and so everyone was dressed to the nines in inner tubes, Daisy Dukes, and swimsuits. They show up and Brendan is wearing a sweatshirt and the nicest Lululemon pants I have ever seen. But they're not beach vibes, so my roommate lends him some shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, and he leaves the sweatshirt and the Lulu pants at my place for the time being. The night goes well, and the next day I realize I still have his pants. I fold them up and put them by my front door, vowing to bring them back. Weeks pass, and then a month pass, and his pants are still sitting at my front door, and I genuinely keep forgetting to bring them back to him. And about a month and a half after that event, I get a call from my friend Nikki in tears. Brendan has been messaging other girls on Instagram, and he has a 900-day Snapchat streak with his ex. I work to console my friend, and I tell her that he's a good-for-nothing nobody who never deserved her anyway, and I get home furious that my friend is dealing with this when I spot his pants by my door. I dismiss my idea, but I glance at them again. They do look really nice. Then my sense of justice kicks in, and I think, fuck him. If you're going to mess with my friend, I'm going to steal your pants. I put them on and they fit like a dream. For one, they're men's pants and they were the correct length for my legs. And the fabric was just the right mixture of like athletic and leisure at its finest. And I admire myself in the mirror before rushing off to drinks with another friend. We drink and chat for far too long, and as we're leaving, I can feel the 3 beers and 2 cups of water I drank sloshing around in my belly. I hustle walking down the stairs to the bathroom when mid-step I have the most violent Thor-like sneeze of my life, and my full bladder empties. I've peed my pants. Not even my pants. I've peed Brendan's pants. Startled and confused, I hustle to the bathroom to do my best to clean up before having to bike home. And just as I'm finishing up, I get a text from Nikki saying, hey, Brendan and I worked things out and we're going to stay together. Can you please remember to bring him his pants back?
A couple years back, a woman I was living with announced out of the blue, great news! My sister Angie from England is coming to visit. Isn't that your sister, the one that once borrowed 1,000 pounds off you and never paid you back? Yes, but we don't talk about that. And didn't she used to chain smoke in front of you when you were trying to quit? Yes, but we don't talk about that. And she's the sister that once fixed you up on a blind date where the guy almost... We don't talk about that. And when Angie comes out, you're going to be polite and you're not going to say anything because she's family. So a month later, Angie arrived and immediately the 2 sisters got into a pattern of they would drink, then they would laugh, Then they would argue. Then one of them, never Angie, would cry, and they'd wrap this up about 3 a.m. Amazingly, Angie would be back up about 7:30 in the morning, loudly talking on her cell phone to her boyfriend Phil back in England, using some very interesting language. Phil, you're really being a C-word. Oh, Phil, you're such a C-word. Phil, listen to me. You're really starting to get on my tits. Who says things like that? Plus, at the same time, she was filming everything with her cell phone. Look, this is where they live. This is where I'm staying. Oh, this is my sister's bedroom. Oh, look, there's Al. He's still in bed. Say hello, Al. Hello, Al. Angie. But I didn't say anything because she's family. Her sister would get up every morning and make Angie a full English breakfast. Ever seen one of those? You got your eggs, you got your chips, you got your beans, you got sausage, and you got bacon. Now, I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, but I try to keep the animal fats to a minimum. Bacon, however, it's like cocaine to me, okay? I would never buy it. I would never order it, ask for it, or seek it out. But if somebody wants to fry up a couple of nice little strips and lay them out there, thank you very much. Every now and then, Angie and I would have personal conversations where she'd express her views. She said to me, you know, I'm in favor of Brexit. Why is that, Angie? Well, they're letting too many foreigners into the country. Foreigners into Britain. The last people that lived in Britain that weren't foreigners, they built Stonehenge. Britain is nothing but foreigners. Romans, Vikings, Normans. But I didn't say anything because she's family. Angie said to me, you know, I think Boris Johnson would make a really good Prime Minister. Why is that, Angie? Well, Boris is one of the common people. He's one of the common people. Boris Johnson went to Eton. It is the most exclusive private school on the planet. In fact, 19 other British Prime Ministers went to Eton. But I didn't say anything because she's family. Angie said to me, you know, I think that Meghan Markle, I don't like her. Why not, Ange? Well, I think she's a bit of a gold digger. She's a gold digger. She's marrying into the royal family. They're all gold diggers. They've never had a job. But I didn't say anything because she's family. One night, Angie said to me, so Al, what do you think of my visiting? And she had this laugh. It was sort of a cross between an aged rock star and a villain from a Dickens novel. You know, sort of like, come here, boy. She laughed. What do you think, Al? And I said to her, Angie, you are like an occupying force. And she said to me, oh, you love it. But I was serious. She was like an occupying force. It was as if a Nazi army had invaded my life. But not a Nazi army that's about systemic genocide and global domination. Think more a Nazi army that's about petty gossip and backstabbing. You know, sort of like, I hear that Hermann Goring. He thinks the Führer's his best friend. He's not. And he does morphine every day. True historical fact. Finally, Angie's visit ended and she left. And a couple weeks later, my partner says to me, you know, I just talked to Angie. She says she had a great time. And she says she's going to come back next summer. But this time she's going to come with Phil. You mean Phil? Phil doesn't talk like that. Phil is posh. Well, he can't be that posh if he's going up with your sister Angie. But I didn't say that because she's family. You know.
All right. My little brother is the first person in my family that I tell I'm gay. I'm in my early 20s, he's still a teen, and I figure he will be the most accepting. We're sitting on his bed, and I am so nervous. When I tell him, he's understandably confused, as I've only had boyfriends previously, and have even been married to a man and have a child at this point. But to my surprise, he's also a bit horrified. I stay calm, and after a long chat, he says something like, well, I mean, I guess because you're a girl, it's okay, but if you were a guy, ugh, that'd be so gross. And I'm like, okay, thanks, hetero porn, I guess? So I tell my older brother next. I figure he'll actually just not care. Haha, nope, he is just plain horrified. Another surprise for me. After these reactions, I can't bring myself to come out to my mom for a really long time. And when I finally do say, Mom, I'm gay, she says, oh, I don't think so, dear. And I'm like, oh, no, Mom, that's not how this works. And she says, no, I just mean, I think you're probably bi, like your father was. Now, I knew one of us was going to be freaked out by this conversation. I just didn't realize it was going to be me. So, fast forward 20 plus years, gay marriage laws have passed in Canada. My daughter goes to school with kids that have gay parents. Most of my family members fully accept and support my queerness. My mom wears a rainbow pin to church. My younger brother puts his beer company into the Pride Parade. My older brother and his wife teach my nieces that love is love. It's become an era of acceptance. So, just a couple of years ago, my younger brother and his lovely wife have a young son of their own and another child on the way. They asked my wife and I if we will watch our 4-year-old nephew while they get away for a few days of alone time before their next baby arrives. Yes, I am so excited to have a little kid in the house again for a bit. Also, my daughter is an adult, so I feel like I get to do things right with his kids, you know? They come over to drop him off and then stay the night before leaving on their trip really early the next morning. They get young Jay to sleep and we're all hanging out, having a beer, and my bro casually asks me what kind of things we have planned while they're gone. I joyfully list off going to the aquarium or the zoo and going to the park and playing in the yard and doing arts and crafts and going to Granville Island and going shopping for a dress for Jay. Did you just tell me that you're buying our kid a dress, whether he wants one or not? He says. Well, I am right back to sitting on my brother's bed coming out to him all those years ago. All of the anger that I had at his response then, but couldn't express for fear of losing him, wells up and I get defensive real quick. I say angrily, yeah, I'm gonna get a dress for the kid so that he can play in it or wear it around. But what if he doesn't want one, he says reasonably again. I get even more defensive. Have you ever even offered him one? My tension rises. I am furious at his perceived close-mindedness. My bro points out that I made it sound like I'm going to force young Jay to wear a dress. I make it clear that I would never do that, of course. I just want him to know that he can have one if he wants one. We de-escalate. We decide that it would obviously be cool for me to just ask Jay if he would like to have a dress. If he says yes, then he can have one. If he says no, well then that's that. Simple. So, they leave, we have an amazing and busy few days. On our last day together, Jay and I are cuddling on the couch just after the crack of dawn. Having a young'un around is wonderful, but I'd forgotten what it's really like to have a 4-year-old. I was also 20 years younger the last time I did it. I am exhausted and pounding coffee. He is very awake and chatty. So I say, so, Jay, I was thinking of going shopping today. Would you like that? What do you think? And he says, oh, yes. Can we get a Paw Patrol toy? And I say, Sure, yes, we can. I was also thinking of buying you a dress. Would you like to have a dress? He thinks about it for a second and says, no. No, I say, well, okay. But then I start to wonder about his reasoning for not wanting a dress. Did someone tell him the dresses are only for girls? Is this some early gender bias that I am about to heroically nip in the bud? So a few minutes later, I say as casually as I can, so Jay, like, just out of curiosity, why don't you want to have a dress? And he, bless his heart, thinks about it for a long time and says seriously, I don't like to twirl. I give him a big squishy hug. I finish with, I don't want a dress either, but if a boy we knew did want a dress, that would be okay, and we would never tease him about that, right? And he says, yeah, with a kind of like, duh, that's a no-brainer look on his face. And then he says, can we have pancakes? So we do, and I'm grateful for a world full of change.